students were testing from the beginning since the fall semester. They had to articulate the beginning, the seed of a thesis, really trying to elaborate something that has a lot of abstraction or has a kind of a little bit of an earlier ground towards the thesis at the end.
We started working in thesis. I came with this conclusion that I could turn anything into ornament. So I started different things, turning different graphics into ornament, and that's what started driving my project.
We definitely have a kind of difference in terms of the way we've organized the work. There also seems to be a slightly wider range of kinds of work, and I think that's a good thing.
All of the conversations from thesis prep to, through the summer really brought upon a huge diversity of projects. We have a lot of projects, urban projects. We have small-scale projects.
In an ensemble, the tone of the singular instrument becomes hard to distinguish when each player strikes a note. Each tone vibrates and produces an emergent sensation.
Everything's familiar and everything suddenly doesn't look familiar anymore.
It will try and capture this very awkward pairing that you have in these buildings of strangeness and familiarity. It's also reality in disguise because it's so real, but then it's hiding parts that are you're not supposed to take in.
It becomes a weird new economy to say everyone will want to come and see it because of the very lushness that you attach to it.
You can, in fact, take everything you've done and insist on its realism, not on its atmospherism. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a fantastic thesis adventure.
This thesis is one that privileges material and its inherent qualities as a driving force to address scalar, procedural, formal, and technical problems.
You stumbled into a fairly central architectural problem.
The beauty of the machine is that it's always building upon itself, so it allows for that kind of growth onto something.
Ornamental motifs were used to produce the layers of surfaces, while 3D depth is generated by extrapolating geometries that exist in the 2D and detaching them.
A very important part of the process in thesis is how you think about the work, but then how you then manage to express your concept and your ideas to the larger audience. There is a new breed of projects, I think, coming in, which I think overall enriches the culture of the school.
I wanted to create a new type of urban where you feel anonymous, and through these reflections it becomes so vast that you can't really grasp it.
It becomes a place where architects express urbanization in a different way.
The repetitiveness of it is in part key to the disorienting phantasmagoria part of it.
Maybe on that platform some people are also walking around, but for the most part it might actually operate quite nicely as a model at a one-to-one scale. You're starting to believe that you could activate all of these mid-zones in the same way that we usually think about top and bottom, and I think that's really fascinating.
My project is called Coincidentally, and it refers both to different objects being coincident with one another and multiple things happening within a singular thing.
Yeah, the transparency plays a certain character, but the main thing, it was the object by itself.
This conversation doesn't happen very often, to get people from 5 continents in the same place to discuss about the status of architecture with the students, urbanists, theorists, architects, practitioners, academics, chairs. And we really foster the idea that people from outside can come to SCI-Arc and have this conversation.
There are kind of moving definitions of what constitutes architecture, and what you seem to be proposing, which I think is a real strength in the project, is that maybe we've moved it far enough that we got to talk about a different origin myth.
I
I consider all the things in the context and try to translate it into my building.
The beauty of the project is that just when you think it's dead, it comes back alive.
The idea of the wireframe model, it's a great idea.
You froze it at a certain point when those multiple intensities occur is where the kind of jazz happens in this project. I think even from here is super.
It can also be read, as many very important thesis projects are, as the thing that kills what's come before. And man, you do a good job of killing postmodernism.
The drawing is still present or is still trying to do some more work. And so I find it very simple and beautiful.
I think it's a phenomenal exercise to wrap up a trajectory of education and also set up a beginning of something. So I think that's important. I think it's also important in the larger culture of architecture and absolutely quintessential, embedded in the DNA of SCI-Arc.